All right.
Please be seated.
The Kosovo Specialist Chambers is now in session.
Please be seated. Good morning. Welcome. Court officer, can you please call the case?
Good morning, Your Honors. This is case KSC BC 2020-05, the Specialist Prosecutor versus Salih Mustafa.
Thank you, Madam Court Officer. Can I please ask the parties and the Victims' Counsel to introduce themselves, starting with the SPO?
Good morning, Your Honors. For the SPO today, we have Alex Whiting, Deputy Prosecutor, Cesari Michalsuk, Prosecutor, Silvia D'Ascoli, Associate Prosecutor, Julie Mann, Case Manager, and myself, Filippo De Minicis, Associate Prosecutor.
Thank you. Victims' Counsel, you have the floor.
Good morning, Your Honours. Good morning, everybody. The Victims' Counsel team today is represented by Marie-Pierre Babot, Senior Legal Associate, and myself, Annie Poos, Victims' Counsel.
Defense Counsel, you have the floor.
Good morning, Your Honor. Defense Counsel is in court represented by Mr. Betim Shala, my co-counsel, myself, Julius von Bonnet, lead counsel. Later on, we will be joined by Mr. Fatmir Pillai, and Mr. Mustafa is on remote.
Thank you very much. Mr. Mustafa, does the connection work fine?
Yes, Your Honor.
I also note the presence of Mr. Hans van der Wal, Duty Counsel for Witness 4600. And for the record, my colleagues are Judge Roland Dekkers, Judge Gilbert Witty, and Judge Vladimir Mikula, and I am Mappie Veldfolia, presiding judge for Trial Panel 1. I appreciate the efforts that were made yesterday to do part of the questioning in public session, and I invite the SPO to continue on that road as far as possible.
We'll do our best, Your Honor.
Okay. And I also would like to inform the parties and the Victims' Counsel that if I consider that confidential information is being shared in public, I may use the override button for protecting the confidential information. And this means that the interpreters will not hear what is being said in the courtroom, and in that way the information will not be shared with the public, and it is a very quick way to react without having to interrupt the witness or some of you. I will do that afterwards, but then at least there is no harm done in that aspect. Let us now revert to the testimony of witness 4600. Can we please, court usher the witness into the courtroom? Thank you. Mr. Witness, good morning and welcome. How are you doing today?
Good morning. I'm well, thank you.
Very well. Today we will continue with your testimony, and before we begin, I would like to refer to a private session in order to discuss a matter shortly with you, and that will only take a few minutes. Could we please go into private session, Madam Court Officer, please?
Your Honors, we're now in private session.
Mr. Witness, I want to inform you that the assurances that were given to you yesterday are still valid today. Do you understand that? Yeah.
Yes.
Madam Court Officer, we can go back into public session.
We're back in public session, Your Honors.
Remind you that you are still under oath to tell the truth. Do you understand that?
Yes.
I'll now give the floor to the Specialist Prosecutor's Office, and they will continue with the questioning. You have the floor, Mr. Prosecutor.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, witness.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm fine.
Resume the questioning from yesterday. I think I will be finished this morning, Your Honors. But while I will endeavor to do as much as possible this in a public session, I need to ask Your Honor's permission to go into private session for now.
Court Officer, can we go into private session, please?
Your Honors, we're now in private session.
Thank you. You have the floor, Mr. Prosecutor.
Mr. Witness, to start today, I'd like to go back to something we've discussed yesterday in relation to the BI units based there. And to that end, Your Honors, I would like to have on the screen again the drawing. (072 914 TR 80 for the witness in Albanian, Part 3 revised. And to have the document said at page 14, lines 1 to 6. And Your Honors, because I would like to have both documents on the screen, and I think 3 documents might be too much, I've chosen to have the Albanian on the screen for the witness, but we will, I will ask the witness to read it out, and we will benefit from the translation, if that's okay for Your Honors.
Yes, that is okay.
Now, if Mr. Witness, could I please ask you to read line 1 to 6 of your interview on the document that is shown on the screen now for you.
The lower part, yes, the lower part, the doors. There was a wall. There were all the houses attached with it. Just the lower part was where the doors were. There was a house here, a house. Now the wall was up to here. From this side up to here. And another one was here, in this part. LA4, what?
Sufficient, thank you very much. Thank you very much. We can remove the transcript, please, from the screen now, and perhaps enlarge the sketch. Now, witness, you see, in addition to the statement, that portion that you read out, it would appear to me that you did draw some sort of perimeter around the houses which are part of the compound. Does this refresh your recollection as to whether there was a wall around the Via compound in the neighborhood that you referred as Svarts in Slash?
As far as I know, there was some sort of wall, not a high wall, but a mud wall, like the ones they used to have in villages before. I mostly focused at the entrance of the compound because I don't know what was around the base. So I drew the arrow, and then after this arrow, if you can see there, it's a wall, but the simple wall that I mentioned.
Thank you, Mr. Witness. Your Honors, with your permission, I would like to show a photograph now to the witness. That would be number 6 in the exhibit list for this witness. That's actually a booklet of pictures with the ERN range SPOE 00 21 34 59 to 00 21 34 87. And I would ask the court officer to move to page 20 of the PDF to the picture with ERN SPOE 00 21 34 78. Thank you. Now, this is an aerial picture, photograph of a compound surrounded by countryside, nature. As Madam Court Officer, could we zoom perhaps to 200% of its regular size? Mr. Witness, does this picture, does the compound in this picture look familiar to you? Or can you recognize it?
It looks similar, but I'm not sure whether it is the one.
Officer, could we please zoom another 50%? Another 50%, please, to 300%. Mr. Witness, if you can take another look and take all the time you need.
The entrance below looks similar. With regard to the buildings, I'm not sure about them. But the entrance looks like the one I saw. However, I cannot assess whether the buildings were the same as the ones I see here.
Could I please ask you to draw a circle with that marker we used yesterday around the area that you have identified as the entrance?
The defense counsel and the victims counsel, that the court usher makes a circle or puts a cross or whatever Mr. Witness indicates that he wants to be written. If that's okay for...
Perfectly fine, Your Honor.
No problem.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Witness, you can indicate to Madam Court Usher where you want a sign or whatever you think is necessary to be put. Yeah, just tell me what you want her to write, and then it will be translated, and she will hear it too. And I will instruct her to do as such. Mr. Prosecutor, please continue.
Yes, if you could please follow your Madam President's instructions and ask the point out to the court officer the part of the picture that you have indicated as the entrance, and she will then draw a circle around it as instructed by the bench.
This one here. Microphone, please, Your Honor.
Mr. Witness is pointing at the screen, as far as I can see from here, and has indicated to the court usher where to make a circle. Madam Court Usher, please proceed.
Yes.
The court usher has now made a sign on the picture, but could you also try to describe where what you have, where you put a circle on or around, what that is?
I believe this was the entrance to this compound. This was the beer base. This was the main entrance to the compound.
Here, I didn't want to continue the examination by the SPO. What I wanted to do is a factual indication on the picture where you put the circle. So my proposal would be, could we say that in the bottom part, in the middle of the picture, on the right side, next to the wall, on the left side of what could be a white wall with an orange tiles, but I don't know, but it's white and orange. There you had a circle drawn. Could the SPO, the Victims' Counsel and the Defense Counsel agree with this description, just to have a kind of indication what he pointed at?
Yeah, yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
No problem.
No problem?
No problem.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Prosecutor, please continue.
Thank you, Mr. Witness. I'm done with this photograph, Your Honors. We can remove it from the screen. With the court's permission, I'd like to request the court officer to show another photograph to the witness. That would be number 5 in the exhibit list for this witness. It's another large booklet, and with ERN range SPOE 001 28 386 to SPOE 001 28 420. And again, I'm going to need page 20 on the screen, the ERN of which is SPOE 0012 8405. Mr. Witness, again, a lot of time has passed, but do these buildings look familiar to you? And if so, are you able to tell us what these buildings are?
It's been a long time, but they look familiar. These buildings, the one at the bottom with a white roof, we call it a barn where they keep animal fodder. The upper ones, I don't know what they are. They are buildings. Perhaps people lived there, but I don't know. I'm not sure what they were.
Your Honors, may I again attempt to refresh the witness's recollection by reading out a small portion of the interview we gave to the SPO in January 2020?
You may, Mr. Prosecutor.
Madam Court
Excuse me.
Officer.
I'm
Mr.
sorry.
Prosecutor, wait, Defense Counsel, you
Yeah,
stood up.
I'm just sorry to interrupt, but I think the witness gave orally some indications. It might be helpful if he does the same as we did before, in order to clarify what he means, because he's saying three things, and then we know at least what he is referring to.
I don't think I completely understand your question.
Well,
Your Honor, perhaps the witness can be asked to remove his headphones for the
Mr.
time being.
Witness, can you take off your headphones?
Microphone, please.
witness indicates orally something, but maybe he could do that on the same picture as what he said about which pictures he is, what buildings he's actually referring to. Maybe that might be helpful. It's just, might clarify.
A suggestion could be always welcome, but at this point in time I would like to leave it to the SPO how they would like to proceed with the questioning. The only general rule we have here, of course, that no confusing, but that was not the case.
Well,
so
to me, I believe, to the defense at least, it's not clear what here he is trying to indicate as far as buildings is concerned, whether it is more or less buildings that he is indicating in this part. So that's why I say that might be helpful. I'd leave it up to the prosecutor. But
thank you for your remark. You have the floor again, Mr. Prosecutor.
Thank you, Madam President. I believe the witness has indicated a building with a white roof. Perhaps it's not as wide as the sky below, but there's two red roofs and one with a roof with a whitish hue, and he said that that's a barn. And now I would like to question him a bit further on this by refreshing his recollection.
You might re-ask that same question, although we don't want to be repetitive, just to be sure that there is no misunderstanding.
Yes. Yes, could the witness put the headphones back on? So, witness, you told us that you recognize one of the buildings as one that's used as a barn. Can you indicate, is it on the right or on the left of the picture from your perspective?
As I see it, it is on the left. But if you see the door there, yeah, it is on the left. However, I can't pinpoint where it was, because there were other people, there are other families living there, and maybe they had barns as well. But from what I see here, I think it was on the left of the yard.
Prosecutor, I would like to ask the witness to put a cross, just to be sure about sometimes confusions about left and right. So,
by all means, Your Honor. Mr. Witness, could you please put a cross? It doesn't require any particular, just a mark with the pen. Doesn't need to be of any particular shape. A cross, hopefully, on the building that you just indicated as being on the left.
Not on my left, on my right. It was on the left to the entrance of the yard. That's how I described it.
Right. So perhaps now the cross is going to be even more helpful if you could just like put a mark on the pen on the building we've been talking about so far. Or in the alternative, ask the court usher to do so for you.
Yes.
So does the cross drawn by the court usher reflect what you like the building that is that the building we've been discussing? As in, was that the building that you meant to indicate?
Yes.
Now, if I could please have on the screen 072914 TRET Part 2, page 8. And, Your Honor, this time I'm going to have to do it the other way around because I don't have readily available the Albanian reference, but with Your Honor's permission, perhaps I could read out in English and the translator could. Thank you.
Defense counsel, everything okay?
I'm just trying to find it in the tabs, and I was unable to find that.
Maybe the SPO could be of assistance because the defense counsel says that he is not able to find it in the tabs.
Is that the picture that?
You're meaning the statement? Defense counsel? I just try to be of assistance for you.
Yes, I thought that there would be a picture of some kind, or if there is anything that is being shown that I know the tab. This list of materials that we have is very helpful.
It's tab number 5. It's tab number 5.
Okay, thank you very much. That would be fine.
And yeah, and it's a large booklet, so I can read back the ERN, which would be.
It's okay.
Okay.
If tab.
Please direct to me, that would be helpful. Please proceed, Mr. Prosecutor.
If you could scroll down the document a bit further. Okay. Now, a little bit up, 2 lines up, please. Yes. Okay. Now, Mr. Witness, when during the interview you were shown the picture that we just showed you, and we can see from the transcript that it's the same ERN, SPOE 001 28405, you gave a description of the picture. You stated, this is how it looks. The other building I just seen was the place where they would keep the grain, the food for the livestock. These buildings, these houses, they would, indiscernible. From looking at the outside, I'm not certain, but they look to be like those buildings. And then the prosecutor in the interview asked you, right, but the photograph which I've just shown you, is that Svarts? And you answered, yes, it is one of their houses, but I don't know what for. please refresh your recollection as to what these houses I showed you in the picture earlier on were part of.
The buildings resembled each other, not only in this compound, but in the entire village. The houses look like each other.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm moving on, Your Honor.
Your Honors, we're back in open session.
Thank you, Madam Court Officer. We are now back in open session. You have the floor, Mr. Prosecutor.
Mr. Witness, as a further reminder, in open session, no identifying details of yourself or of the person we've been speaking about so far should be said. Was the BIA unit part of Brigade 153?
Yeah.
No.
Was it within the chain of command of Brigade 153?
Yeah.
No.
Was any Brigade 153 unit subordinated to the BIA unit?
Io non credo sia boss.
No. To my recollection, no.
Now, I understand that both units, while distinct, were based fairly close to each other. You told us a couple of kilometers yesterday. Is my recollection correct?
Yes.
Now, I understand they were not part of the same chain of command, but did the units ever cooperate, for example, in combat operations?
Yes, they cooperated.
And when that happened, was there a centralized command or sort of coordinating the cooperation of these units?
I don't think there was one as such, because when the Serbian forces would attack, there wasn't any command. Everybody tried to do their best to be able to defend. There was no command as such from the brigade or from BIA or from the Karadak operational zone units that were operating in Slash. When Serbian forces would attack, we were always ready to face them to the extent we could. As for the command as such, as something that would give order to this unit or that unit, there wasn't any command.
Who was Commander Salih's superior, direct superior?
I don't know.
Did Commander Salih have a deputy?
As far as I know, yes.
What was the name of Commander Salih's deputy at that time?
I don't know his name. I know his pseudonym. His pseudonym was Dardani.
Do you recall the name of any other member of the BIA unit?
zakonech
Usually, they used pseudonyms.
Pseudonyms used by members of the BI unit in Slash.
To tell you the truth, all of them had pseudonyms. It's been a long time. Maybe I forgot most of them. Not only them, but that is soldiers of the BI unit, but other soldiers, most of them used pseudonyms.
It's understandable. Does the name Nazif Muslio ring any bell?
pseudonym
As a pseudonym,
This was his name. He also had a pseudonym. Do you recall what the pseudonym was?
Edi
yes, I do.
Pompidot.
I recall it. His pseudonym was Tabuti.
Your Honor, with the panel's permission, I would like perhaps to propose a couple of pseudonyms to the witness to see if he recalls them as being members of the BI unit. Would that be an agreeable way to proceed?
In public session.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, yes.
Does the pseudonym or nickname Bini ring any bell?
Yes,
Was he a member of the BI unit?
Ready.
I don't know.
And Nazif Musliu Akatabuti, was he a member of the BI unit?
Posadiono to
As far as I know, yes.
Bari Gashi, was he a member of the BI unit?
Yes.
Did members of the BI unit wear uniforms?
Helvisten
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Sometimes they would wear civilian clothes, not only BI unit members, but members of other units as well, as there was lack of uniforms. But most of them had uniforms.
What type of uniforms did they wear?
Campusuniforma
They had camouflage military uniforms.
You told us yesterday, and I can refer to page 68 of the draft transcript, that Commander Salih always wore a uniform, and that sometimes he also wore a hat. Do you remember telling us that?
Yes.
What color was that hat?
Quick assessment.
When he wore uniform, he sometimes wore a hat, sometimes not. Sometimes he wore uniform, sometimes not. However, most of the time he wore uniform and a red hat.
Your Honors, could we please move back into private session?
Madam Court Officer, could we go into private session, please?
Your Honors, we're back in session.
Thank you, Madam Court Officer. It is now almost time for the first break. Mr. Witness, we will continue at 11:30. Yeah, there's now time for also a break for you, and I will ask the court usher to assist you in leaving the courtroom. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. After the break, we will continue with the examining by the Victims' Counsel, and I was informed that you will have 40 minutes for your examination, and I see you nodding. Okay, there are two general remarks which I would like to make before we go into our break, and that is for you, Mr. Prosecutor, if you could share with us, there were two references to the transcript, if you could share that with the other party and the Victims' Counsel and the panel later on. You will find them back in the transcript.
We'll do so, Your Honor.
Thank you. And a more general comment is that if the examining party does not have the references, I can understand that, because sometimes we remember something that has been said during the interrogation of the witness, and then we would like to confront the witness with that. If there is no discussion about what has been said in the transcript, we can continue for reasons of expediency. But if there is discussion on it, then of course you should present the reference so that we can all check that what is referred to is indeed what has been said. So that would be my general comment. Yes, then it's now time for a break. We resume at 11:30.
All right. All rise.
Please be seated. Welcome back. Let me first call the appearances. On my right-hand side.
No changes for the SPO, Your Honor.
Thank you. Victims' Counsel.
No changes from our side, thanks.
I see that. And the Defense Counsel.
No changes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Mustafa is present. And yes, I see also Mr. van der Wal. Before we resume with the testimony of witness 4600, I was informed that the SPO wanted to discuss a matter concerning a conversion table. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honors. If you don't mind, I'll do that, and I'll be very brief. It was just to inform the trial panel that this morning we have we have sent via email the conversion table indicating the corresponding ERN in the SPO interview of the accused. We just wanted to note that there are 6 items which Your Honours will not find in legal workflow, and that is because we do not intend to rely on them. However, we are ready to provide courtesy copies to Your Honours and the parties should that be your wish. So just that. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Prosecutor. I will come back to this, but at least we are informed at this moment in time. Good. I see the prosecutor standing.
Your Honor, I believe I owe you 2 references to the transcript.
Okay. Please proceed.
So I believe the first one was the one when I mentioned again with the witness that he knew the accused and others since the time the KLA began, and that reference is to page 67 of yesterday's transcript, lines 14 to 21. As for the second one, which I believe concerns the last part of it may concern the last quote that I read out to the witness, that would be ERN 072914 TRET Part 3 revised, lines 17 to 21.
To my understanding, you were referring to the transcript, but maybe I understood that wrong.
Yes, this would be the transcript.
Okay.
Yes, this would be part 3 of the transcript of the SPO interview with the, so my second reference is to the transcript of the SPO interview with the witness, and my first reference is to the transcript of yesterday's hearing.
Okay. Good. I will have a look at it, but we can leave it for now like this. I thought it were 2 references to the transcript of the examination of the witness. And
no, the second one. I mean, the second one I kept quoting parts, and I provided the reference at the beginning, but then I did not provide the reference for the last part. So the first one was to yesterday's transcript. The second one was to the accused. To the witness's interview with the SPO.
Thank you for this moment. I will have a look at it again just to be sure if we have understood each other well, and that will do, I think, for now.
Okay, Your Honor.
Thank you. Good. Now we can resume with the testimony of witness 4600. Court usher, can you please bring the witness back to the courtroom? Welcome back, Mr. Witness. We will now proceed with the questioning. And that will be done by the victim's counsel. You have 40 minutes in principle, and you have the floor.
Thank you, Your Honor. And good morning, Mr. Witness. Let me introduce myself. Annie Poos is my name. I'm here as victim's counsel, and we very briefly met at a courtesy meeting a couple of days ago. I only have very few questions, and I believe that it is wise that for all of those we go into private session, please.
Okay. Madam Court Officer, can we please go into private session?
Your Honors, we're back in public session.
Thank you. Defense Counsel, we will adjourn now and resume, is my intention, at 14:30. Will you then be ready for cross-examination?
Yes.
You will then be ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, very well. Mr. Witness, we are now going to have somehow a bit longer break, and that will be till 2:30. And at 2:30, the Defense Counsel will be posing questions to you. Yeah? Okay. Then,
No problem.
session, I will now ask the court usher to usher you out of the courtroom.
Thank you.
Okay, we will resume at 14:30, so 2:30. The hearing is adjourned.
All rise. All rise.
Please be seated. Let me see. On my right-hand side, the prosecution is in the same composition as before, yes. The Victims' Counsel 2, and here I see a small change.
Yes,
Defense.
Mr. Fatmir Pillai is attending.
Thank you. And I note that Mr. van der Wal is also present in the courtroom, and Mr. Mustafa. Yes, can we please usher the witness into the courtroom? Court usher, thank you. Welcome back, Mr. Witness. I hope you have had a good break.
Yes, thank you.
I give the floor to the Defense Counsel for his cross-examination of witness 4600. Defense Counsel, you have 1 hour and 20 minutes. Please proceed.
tractors and the cars and so on. They would use tents and so on.
And did you see any tents there, for example, on the compound at that moment where people were?
No, I don't remember. This was a short time when I saw them. Perhaps there were within the compound and outside the compounds, but I can't say. There were refugees everywhere, in the compound, outside, with the neighbors, but I don't know how many. I couldn't tell you.
You said within the compound, outside the compound? And does it mean that, how would these people get access there? If you know, of course.
Yes.
Very simply. When the refugees were expelled from towns and other places, they tried to get somewhere safe, close to the compound, in the compound, on the road next to the compound. They were trying to stay wherever the army was. But the KLA couldn't shelter them all or find a place for them all, but they tried their best to shelter people in the Golak area.
Okay, I want to go to the day that you I want to go to the day that the offensive started in the area where you were stationed.
Defense Counsel?
Oh, sorry, do I miss?
No, you did not miss anything. I have just a question for you.
Yes.
Did you consider if we could go into a public? We are now in private, and we've been doing a lot of questions in private,
Yes.
and it was certainly necessary to do that.
Yes.
But did you give it a thought if, seeing the questions you have, that we can go back?
This is a step-up question for a number of other questions that I think that are necessary to do in private.
Okay, then we can.
Your Honors, we're back in public session.
Thank you, Madam Court Officer. Counsel for the defense, you can proceed.
Do you know if BIA had any other bases elsewhere?
I don't know if they had another base. It could have been in lab, but I don't think so. I think that they had only the point in Slash.
And regarding that, have you ever met anywhere else people from the BIA unit outside? For example, Pristina or elsewhere?
No, I didn't. It was impossible for me to go to Pristina. There were Serbian forces there, and there was no way I could get to Pristina at that time. And I don't think there were any in Pristina. Apart from the point that was known to me, I don't think they had another base elsewhere.
What did you actually know about the BIA?
Not more than what I said, that they were a KLA unit named BIA, and as I said, we refer to them as Skifterat.
Did they have any particular call sign, if you know?
Yes, they did.
And what was that?
I don't know. I've forgotten.
What was the position of Rahmandini?
To my knowledge, he was chief of staff of the brigade. To my knowledge.
And where was he located?
The headquarters of the brigade staff, was located at Slash School.
Was the BI unit actually a unit that was part of Brigade 153? Or were they... No, that is the question.
But that question, I think we have already
I just
heard.
wanted to step up to something else and makes it easier, I think.
Okay, but that's... No. Please don't repeat questions we have done already.
Your Honor, no problem. I can answer that. BIA unit was not part of 53rd Brigade. It was part of LAB operational zone.
Did the BIA have any authority over the military police? Did the BIA have any authority over the military police?
Yeah.
No.
Did the BIA have any authority over the brigade?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I need to think it's useful to go into private session for a couple of questions.
Madam Court Officer, can we go into private session, please?
Your Honors, we're in private session.
Thank you, Madam Court Officer. Could you briefly say why we are in a private session, Counsel for the Defense?
And name a number of people, and I want to know whether that person, whether the witness knows these people, and I think it is wise to do that in private session.
Please proceed.
The base that we discussed earlier?
Right, I don't want to mention the name now, but
Yes,
Defense Counsel.
under their control.
Moment I saw the specialist prosecution office.
No, just a matter of precision again. We've discussed several bases today, so one may not want to say the name, but it will help to make more precise references. But
I think it was clear what was mentioned. The witness knew, so please proceed.
and how do you have that knowledge that that base was under the control of the BIA, that base that we discussed earlier?
I will answer with a question. How do you know who is the mayor in this town? How do you, as a person, know who the mayor of this town is?
Mr. Witness, we don't answer with questions, I would say. Try to give an answer, and that is it, okay?
Thank you. Very simple. How we knew that BIA or the Secretariat base was there. Everybody knew that. I knew it, soldiers knew it, maybe citizens, simple citizens knew it. They all knew that that location was BIA's base.
I understand. I just asked not about the citizens. I'm asking you your personal knowledge. How did you get to know that that was under the control of the BIA? How did you get that particular knowledge?
All of us knew that that base was led by BIA. Every soldier knew that. I knew that.
Did you ever discuss this with the accused, Mr. Mustafa?
For what?
My question was, did you ever discuss this with the accused, Mr. Mustafa?
But, Counsel, we all have the same reaction here. What has he discussed, should he have discussed with the accused?
Did you ever discuss with Mr. Mustafa that he or his unit was controlling the location in Zlaž?
Defense, just an organizational point. Yes, I heard. Oops. We are at the end of the allocated time to you, but of course you can be given more time. I'm looking at the clock. How much time do you think that you will need still for your cross-examination? Microphone, please.
I would certainly go over the time, yeah, and I would like to ask a little leniency as to discuss the matters with the witness.
My question would then be, how much time do you think that you would still need?
I'd say about 15, 20 minutes, actually.
I have the possibility to continue till 4:15 today. However, I see that I would say let us proceed another 10 minutes, and then for sure we need to adjourn and resume next week on Monday, because there will be the possibility of the other parties in the Victims' Council to do further questions, and also for the panel. So I would say we continue some 10 minutes more, and then we will adjourn, and then you can tell me where you stand.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Was there ever in the organization, to your knowledge, any particular decision made that the BIA would be the unit that would control the location in Salih that we have discussed earlier? There's only one location that we are talking about today.
I don't know.
Did any superior officer, be it the head of the brigade, the deputy head of the brigade, the chief of staff of the brigade, or any other person ever tell you that it was the BIA unit who would be the single controller over the location that we have discussed today?
No, nobody told me that, but we all knew.
And what do you call, in this perspective, a base? Was it the complete entire compound that was under the control of them, or was it just the usage of a building or more buildings?
The entire compound. I refer to them for the entire compound.
Did you ever discuss it with the family who was actually living there?
What do you mean with it?
Sorry, but did you ever discuss this control over that particular compound with any of the family members who owned the houses on that particular compound?
It was not under my competence to speak to any of the family members, because they voluntarily gave their house for the usage of by KLA. So I did not speak to any of them on this matter.
And actually, was there anybody of the family who owned one or more buildings in that compound? Was there anybody still living there at that moment that you visited that location on the day that we discussed today? Staying in public session, I think that is the best.
I understand your question. I don't know if any of them was still living there because they left the compound much earlier. They moved to the city, maybe some of them even abroad. So to my knowledge, there was nobody there. As I said, they voluntarily gave the house to the KLA. So how they agreed on that, I don't know.
And when did they leave, actually, that particular compound then? Do you know? Can you say when that was in time?
It happened maybe a year or two before.
Today we discussed that at some point in time you visited briefly that particular compound. And if you do not recall the moment that I'm referring to, then I asked to go into private session. But when you went there at that time, do you recall what the weather was like? In that period?
It was before the evening.
The question was, what was the weather like? Was it?
The weather was similar to today.
Much?
And how is the weather today?
It is windy. It is sunny. I think it was similar at that time. The temperature might have been a bit lower, but it was similar.
It was in the evening. Was it getting dark?
I did not hear the witness say that it was in the evening. Shall we read that back? It was before the evening, I read here.
Sorry, before the evening.
So line, page 71, 11,
yes.
line 11.
Yes, I read it. Was it getting dark, or was it, you said before the evening, is that?
Yeah, could you make an open
approximately,
question?
can you give an idea when you were?
Mr. Defense Counsel, please an open question. What time of the day was it? And then you can specify according to what he said before.
So what time of the day was it?
I can't remember exactly. It was before the evening.
When you have been there on that compound before that particular day that you were at or near the entrance. Have you recognized any families that were there? Not on that particular day, but times before.
No, I hadn't.
Were the people that were there on that day that you were there, that we discussed in private session, were the people there from that area? Or elsewhere?
I didn't understand the question.
Now, Defense Counsel, I think it's better to go into private session, and I think that will be one of the last questions for today, I would propose. Madam Court Officer, could you bring us into private session, please?
People who were local did not need to take shelter there. They had their own houses. But I'm sure because of that, they must have been from further away.
And lastly, could you give an estimate about the amount of people that you have seen there that day that were actually there?
No, I can't give you an estimate. I can't give you the number of the refugees that were staying there, because I don't know.
It was clear that they were refugees staying there.
Yes, of course, because that house was not inhabited. There were only the BS soldiers there and civilians that were being sheltered there. Not only there, but in the entire Gulag area, in the houses, in schools, in other places, people were being sheltered there so that they wouldn't sleep out in the open. But as I said, there was not enough room for everyone in the houses and in the buildings, so people would stay in tents, in cars, and then they were being helped with food and other necessities.
Very last question is, do you know when these people were evacuated from there? If they were evacuated from there at some point in time?
I don't know when they were evacuated.
Excuse me, Defense Counsel, you said when and if, and there were two questions, but you started with when. That's and then you said if. So what is the question to the witness?
If they were evacuated at some point in time?
I don't understand. You mean from the base we talked about? I don't know. I was not there, I don't know. Because the column started from Kolich-Kecherkol/Marej-Mramor. When the shelling started from Lower Berda towards the eastern part of Slash, then the population left and went towards Pristina. We were being shelled from all sides, and buildings were being set on fire, people were being tortured and killed, so they were leaving and went towards Pristina. And it's a known fact, there was the Makovts massacre. People were leaving and trying to get away from there. We didn't know where to direct them. If they asked us, we didn't know what to tell them, where to go. Nobody knew. We couldn't give them an answer to the population when they asked us. We couldn't tell them go to this direction or that direction. There were police forces among the population, and they, Sir Police, were telling the population where to go.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for your patience. I think that would conclude certainly now the questioning.
Thank you, Defense Counsel. Madam Court Officer, can you bring us back into public session, please?
Your Honors, we're back in public session.
Thank you, Madam Court Officer. First of all, Defense Counsel, how much time do you think that you will still be needing?
I think that would be about 15 minutes on one or two topics, mostly. That is not anymore anything too in deep regarding the issues that we've discussed today, just to, I would say, miscellaneous topics.
Thank you. On Monday, will your client be here? Please, the mic.
I think that my client will not be here on Monday, but I would like to verify that with him, actually, because then at least we can know that today.
Mr. Mustafa, will you be here on Monday? And I mean, but here in the courtroom, live, in person.
I will consult my counsel and let you know. The line is not very good, Your Honor. I couldn't hear whether it was yes or no.
Defense Counsel, what I heard from your client is that he wants to discuss it with you. We would appreciate it very much if we could hear today, if possible, if he will be in the courtroom in person.
Yes, if it is made available that we have a telephone call regarding that directly after the closing of this hearing, then I can let the court officer know about that.
Okay. Good. I will ask some other questions to the Specialist Prosecution Office and the Victims' Counsel, but I first want to issue the witness out. Mr. Witness, thank you very much for your time today. We have now finished.
Thank you.
We have now finished with the questioning for today. But we are not finished with the questioning yet. So there are still questions from maybe the other parties and for sure from the judges. So I would like you therefore to inform you that we will resume on Monday and with questioning, and that will be at 11:30. So not at 9:30 as today, but at 11:30. Let me remind you that until Monday morning, you shall not discuss your testimony with anyone. You will be assisted now by the registry staff. Try to rest this weekend, and we will see you again on Monday. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now look at the Specialist Prosecutor's Office. Mr. Prosecutor, would you continue with the questioning on Monday after the defense has finished?
Your Honor, with the panel's leave, we'd like to review the record over the weekend and get back to you on Monday with that decision, but I can anticipate that if we have any question, we will be very brief.
Okay, good. Would you, Victims' Counsel, want to proceed with the examination on Monday?
Similarly to what the prosecutor's office has said, I doubt it. That's my indication. So if so, only one or two, but I can't entirely rule this out just now. Thank you.
Okay, good. Yes, with regard to the next SPO witness, witness 1679, the panel has decided that we will start the examination on the 4th of October. So we will finish, as far as I can oversee, on Monday, the examination of witness 4600, and then we will resume with the interrogation on Monday, the 4th of October. I look at the SPO to see if they have any further observations at this point.
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Okay. Victims' Counsel, do you have any observations?
No, thank you.
Okay. And Defense Counsel?
No, Your Honor, no further observations.
Okay, then, I will, before I adjourn, thank, as always, the interpreters, the audiovisual booth, our stenographer, and security for also today's assistance. And I wish you a restful weekend. And the hearing is adjourned till next Monday, 11:30.
All rise.